Hello, brand new episode of Gadget Nation and me, Adam Carruthers, and you know what? I'm looking at this map, but I might not need it. Why? Because I've got a really cool GPS watch. You can only see this later. Plus, an absolutely monstrous camera. That's all in this episode of Gadget Nation. You remember when you were in school and you always got something new and you want to show it off because it was really nifty? Perhaps it was a really, really cool watch. Well, if I was still in school, I'll be showing this off. See that? Pretty cool, right? Sunto Ambit. Oh yeah, let's find out a little bit more. I'm really tired. Why? Because I've been trekking around here trying to test out my brand new device, which is this right now. I can show you. Come here. Look at that. How cool is that? This is the Sunto Ambit GPS watch, and it is an absolute stunner. It is sturdy, it is masculine, and you know what? If you're the outdoorsy type, this could very well suit your purposes. So, just to show you the overall design as an overview, like I said, it is sturdy. Now this strap right here, it's replaceable, so you know if you get it worn, torn, maybe it smells a bit bad, you can go and hopefully get it changed. But that's just a minor part. The main part is the actual watch itself, and as you can see, if you're going trekking like I just have, it's going to have all the details that you need for when you're viewing your GPS location, maybe your heart rate, anything you really want. It is absolutely awesome. So as you can see right there, it's crystal clear. It's got the dot system right there, and it's standing out, very easy to glance to as you are running or trekking or doing exactly what it is you want to do. Now in terms of other aspects, if we look at the back, it's very cool as well. It's got the Made in Finland stamp right there, a bit hard to see I know, but that's only coming with their new high-end watches, so that's pretty nifty as well. As you can see, it's all screwed in nice and tight, so it gives you a nice, strong, masculine sort of look. And just to add to it, water resistance, 100 meters. This watch is so far pretty nifty. So what about other aspects of the watch? Well, one thing which may seem a little bit odd, it looks like a normal watch everywhere except for this hardened piece right here. Now for those that are unfamiliar of how this works in terms of GPS, the actual GPS unit is in there. And no matter if you're right-handed or left-handed, wherever you want to wear your watch, it will face skywards to ensure that you get an accurate reading no matter where you are. Very important, it's nice and protected. And in case you're wondering, it is similar to what you find in Garmin and so forth. Now, in case you're wondering about the battery power on this, it is chargeable USB. You just plug it in and then you can start charging away, same as the 4-pin one we saw before on previous watches. Now, other aspects of this, you can upload stuff onto the computer. You can also download probably additional software if need be in the future. And in case you're wondering, yes, it is PC and Mac compatible. So in terms of getting everything out of this onto your computer and charging it, it's all pretty nifty. It's all pretty easy. Now, in terms of what it actually gives in data, that's the most important aspect of the watch. And it comes up with all thumbs ablazing, everything that you need to know in terms of your fitness and maybe tracking your fitness levels can be done right here on the watch. Now, because it's not only GPS, it's got the accelerometer inside, you can track your speed more accurately and of course better. Now, in terms of if you're going uphill or downhill in some cases, they've got the altimeter as well, so that obviously that just adds to the importance of tracking exactly where you are. You also don't want to get lost. So all that plus the GPS ensures that this remains extremely accurate. Now, another aspect, which is in my pocket right now, would be this. heart rate monitor, so you can also monitor your heart rate as you're working out, and it'll give you your optimum, time to just sit down and relax and everything, and also cool down period. Also very important in terms of fitness if you've ever been to the gym or do stuff like this. Put everything together and it is just awesome. And in case you're wondering, yeah, there is a strap, but it's not here with me right now. You just have to tie it here and stick it there, and it'll read together with the watch. So in closing, what do I think about this? Well, it's awesome, but just bear in mind, it's really only for those that are really serious about their hiking, maybe cycling. There's options here when you cycle through in terms of exercise of what you can do, and of course just basic running as well. And that's great because you can just choose the program you're doing on the watch itself. So all those active people out there, this could very well be perfect for you, although I have to say the price is a little bit expensive at over 2,000 ringgit, close to around 2,500 ringgit. That is a lot of money to spend on a watch. However, it all pays off. I mean, I haven't even mentioned like the 3D compass. I haven't even mentioned having the ability to just look at the temperature no matter where I am. And of course, everything that I've already mentioned combined to make this the ultimate outgoing watch. If you can, go check it out, because this could be a really, really useful tool for you if you're going to be out and about. I think it's safe to say that, well, the X100 from Fujifilm was pretty much a success. I can also safely say that mirrorless interchangeable lenses cameras, they are growing pretty fast. So of course, Fujifilm have taken all this into consideration and come out with something which I like to call a behemoth monster, hulked out. In other words, massive and really, really, really well powered. Talking about the X Pro 1 from Fujifilm, and this one, it's aimed at the professionals, and it's a beauty, mine.
Take control.
Oh, hello. Sorry, just playing around with this camera right here. I've had actually a lot of time to play with it. Just taking some last minute shots. Now, this in my hands is the Fujifilm X Pro 1. As you can see, it's a very retro-ish looking camera, but don't be fooled because it certainly packs a lot of power. Now, for Fujifilm, they seem to have asked a couple of questions when developing this camera. For example, does everybody in the game have to have a DSLR? Does big mean mightier? And are we really doing the right thing? And you know what? Those answers have certainly been given to those questions with the development of this. It is monstrous. Now, I'm not going to talk about the lenses. I've actually been given 2 or 3 lenses to play around with. We're going to focus more on the camera itself. Now, the first thing rather I love about this would be the actual design of the body. It is a joy to hold. It's nice and sturdy in your hands, and it just harks back to the olden days. The whole design is very, very cool, very, very nifty. Now, in terms of how everything's laid out, it's also very neat, very well organized, and it allows for a multitude of different options depending what kind of pictures you want to take in terms of exposure, the focus area, and so forth. And as you can see on the back, the simplicity of the layout is also there. And let me just switch this on so you can actually see what it's like when it's on there. You can see the background which I'm focusing on right now. Even there, the pictures just look absolutely stunning. They really, really are top drawer. Now, if we go through everything here, the drive button is quite crucial in terms of how you want to change your settings, and it's quite easily placed right there. Again, I think it depends more on a personal preference for that aspect. Now, in terms of everything else, we've got the view modes there, the button, so they've really thought of everything here in terms of how you want to take your pictures, and of course it also depends on your lens. Now, all the other key functions are there, your autofocus, etc. And I have to say, very, very well thought out, well planned camera in terms of the design aspect. What else about the camera is pretty nifty? Well, I mean, apart from the design, the layout of all the buttons and how manual you can actually get with it, would be the actual picture quality itself. It is glorious. I can't quite describe how nice it is. What my advice to you is to go and find a sample of this and just take a picture of anything around you in the shop, whatever, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about in terms of how it focuses and everything. It's absolutely stunning. Now, of course, pictures are one thing, movies are another. There's not much dedicated to it in terms of the manual, but it is there. You can shoot quite a few different movies. I mean, full HD and so forth, but that's pretty much standard. But don't be fooled by the lack of information about it, because it is also quite nifty. Now, one gripe about that would be, well, this comes more on the lenses. There's no image stabilizer and so forth. So if you want to take a picture, mount it on some sort of a tripod or on a flat surface and get going from there. However, I've been told that there will be a proper zoom lens coming out in the near future. I don't know when it's going to be, and that will have an image stabilizer with it as well. So obviously that is a huge difference. On the note of lenses, I'm just going to touch on it briefly. They are glorious. They're not too big, and they really add to the pictures. I mean, this is just one of them. There are 3 in total, and each one adds something different, and they just really give quality images. I'm seriously impressed with that. So what's my closing comments on this? It is a phenomenal camera. Now, I wouldn't advise more amateurs to take it, because there's a whole host of manual controls on this camera. Like, I've shown you all the buttons and all the configurations you can have for all of your pictures. So you really got to know exactly what you're doing, although obviously you could just stick it in auto and let the camera do all the work for you. Just going to switch it off for a second. Now, other little cool things which I don't think are that necessary, but just add to the niftiness, would be stuff like the filters for your black and white pictures. For example, a yellow tint for skies and so forth. So little things like that do make a huge difference at the end of the day. Little things which maybe I don't like, well, I started getting used to touchscreen LCDs in the back. This one is not. It's also not swinging out in any way, but I think quite a few are still built in like that, so you can't complain too much. Another thing is having the memory card here at the bottom, popping in there. If you're going to use a tripod, it's not the best place to put it. Let's just say it that way. Although, once again, it comes down to personal preference. All in all, a phenomenal camera, but usually when things are phenomenal, it's also very pricey. And this, well, the body alone is a lot of money, let me put it that way. The lenses are also another story. So you have to really save up for this camera, but boy, is it worth it. You know, if you think I'm holding the iPad 2, you would be very wrong. In fact, this is the new iPad, as they call it, or the iPad 3 is another name for it, which is unofficial, of course. Now, I've had plenty of time to play with it. I'm loving it. Here's a quick impression. A quick change of clothes and I'm here at Gloria Jeans. Can't really rock up in a tracksuit. It looks a bit odd. But anyhow, as you can see right here on the table, I have two devices which, well, on the face of it look identical, but no, they're not. This is not the iPad 1, this is the iPad 2. So that sounds pretty nifty, but this sounds even better. It's the new iPad, or as people like to call it, the iPad 3. And I'll tell you what, there's not much difference looking at the two of these. Now we're gonna remember, when the iPad 1 first came out, well, the difference between the iPad 1 and iPad 2, you can notice it with the camera at the front and so forth, so there were noticeable differences there. But this one really does look identical until you switch the screen on, and it is just magnificent. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty about this. So just looking at the screen now, I definitely can tell you this. You will not really be able to tell the difference on camera. You really have to see it for yourself to believe how awesome it is. It's almost like it's glowing, it's coming out at me. It is just so crystal clear. And I'll tell you what, if you have any HD movies you want to put on this, it's going to make a difference. It looks magnificent. In fact, I've even drawn this up here just so you can see the stats. This is how it is. 2048 by 1536, that's amazing. And pixel density 264 ppi, which is less than the 4S and iPhone 4 and something like the Galaxy Nexus. But I tell you what, just looking at the screen itself, it is glorious. I cannot stress that is the most appealing factor about the new iPad. Now, other facets of this would be, well, there's an upgraded camera on the back. Let me just flip it over here. Right there, you're talking about 5 megapixels. And tell you what, the camera quality, the picture quality is much better. In fact, I've just taken one sample picture, so just let me show it to you right now. In fact, I'll take one right now here. So we take one of the wall. Now notice another thing, they've actually put the button here, which makes it easier. It is so clear. I mean, look at that. The colors stand out a lot more. I'm not saying that it's going to replace your DSLR or compact camera, but it is a noticeable difference over the iPad 2. So what else about it makes it different? Underneath the hood, stuff which you might not notice as much is using the A5X processor. So it's noticeably faster, there's no lag. Now right now, I'll be honest, there are not many apps that fully utilize the display nor the better processor, but I can guarantee you this, they will be developing the apps or updating their current apps to make sure that you get full benefits of using the new iPad. And if you have a glorious game like Infinity Blade 1 or 2, just imagine that. It's almost comparable to a PS3 or an Xbox. Having something like this will just take it to the next level. Phenomenal. Now the model that we have here is also their 4G model. Now that's only going to work in the US. Even if you're in England, it's not going to work in terms of 4G. So for now, works the same as that. Put in the SIM card and you're good to go for 3G. But should the full 4G benefits take off here in the future, I mean, I'm reading reviews in America of it, and it is astounding, like 40 MBS and so forth. It's really, really good speeds for all of your downloading needs and surfing needs, which is awesome. Now, in a nutshell, is it worth an upgrade from the iPad 2? Maybe not. Maybe not just yet. It's a little bit too similar. Is it worthwhile getting this over the original iPad? I would definitely say so. With the increased camera capability, the processor, you're just going to get left behind if you're still on the original iPad as apps continue to develop and fully utilize the specs available to them. However, if you are using the iPad 2 and you look at the screen of the new iPad, you might feel that you have to buy the iPad, the new one, because once you've seen it, there's no going back, I can guarantee you. Very impressive. Apple's done it again. This is one of the trendsetters in the tablet market. Have you seen Avery? Don't tell him I'm here. You know why? Because he keeps challenging me to all of these games and he keeps beating me. That guy is unbeatable at any game he plays. Wonder how he's gonna do this week. Let's find out more in Gamer Station.
Hey, Avery Score here with yet another episode of the Gamer Station, and I've got a great show for you today. I've got Jason Manley here, great name, great guy, an artist behind some of the concepts of the characters you know and love. Jason, how did you get started in this industry?
Well, I went to school to be an artist, learned to draw and paint, think and create, problem solve, and then I joined a video game company called Black Isle Studios, which published games like Baldur's Gate and a lot of Dungeons and Dragons games, Icewind Dale and Planescape Torment, stuff like that. And then left and I did some work with Activision and Valve and a game company called Troika Games, and eventually realized I could do it myself and build a company myself, and started a company called Massive Black, which is now called Brilliant Colors. And along the way, I built a portal for artists and creative people to connect called conceptart.org, which brought a whole lot of opportunities to artists, and including my own companies, and started doing industry education and
That's brilliant.
working with clients.
And Brilliant Colors is based in Southeast Asia, here in Singapore, as well as in Austin, Texas. Is that correct?
Well, it's a Singapore company, but we're based in Austin, Texas, and Shanghai.
Interesting. And how do you get from there, from those beginnings to working on games like BioShock 2, like Diablo 3, huge titles?
Well, you know, when I built conceptart.org, there was no conceptart.org was the first website for creatives to go and learn together collaboratively, and learn to draw and paint and create and make game art, concept art. And as I built that, a lot of companies and creatives in the industry started coming around, and we were teaching a lot of artists how to do it, how to do this work. And I also did I did something kind of silly, and I asked the president of the company I was working for at Black Isle how are we going to make sure that our game's a success? And he said, well, that's easy. We'll go on all of the other competitors' websites and talk about our games. And then people will start comparing them, and we'll become more well-known. And I said that started to draw trolls. And one of the trolls came on our site and said that our game was terrible, and Diablo 2 was way better, and it was years ago. And my comment was that at the time I said Blizzard art is weak and you must be colorblind because you can't see the difference in the work. And the next day that my comments showed up on all of Blizzard's fan sites, and about 60,000 people on our website demanding that I get fired. And so
crazy.
My name went all over the industry.
The internet rose up against you, but you
Yes,
survived.
but our fans went crazy too, because I was always working in the communities, being active with the fans, and so I became well known in the industry, and I was putting out a lot of work. And eventually, you know, when we got started, there was no place in the games industry to go and get awesome art, get concept art or 3D models or animation work outside of the companies. So I set up what at the time was the only company to do that, and now there's hundreds.
That's amazing. So now you're on the business side, you're running the show, but before, you know, obviously your background is in art. Could you talk to me about the creative process that goes into developing these characters that really become often platform defining, like Cole, whom you worked on, your company worked on?
Yes. Well, you know, the first thing that happens is the game designers will work with the concept artist, and each company has a little bit different process. But the game designer will work with the concept artist to flush out who the character is, who they are on the inside, as well as who they are, what they look like, and the type of person they are, and what they might be wearing. And they'll flush out a little bit of ideas, like a list of ideas, and then we'll gather reference and we put them together in a document that allows the artist, the concept designer, to do images, concept art sketches of the characters, and then you go through a process where you can, you know, you do 10 sketches, and you can say, I like the shoes from this one, I like the pants from this one, I like the stance and the way this one is posed, and I like the haircut from this one. Well, can you make him a little more like Brad Pitt? You know, there'll be some comments and feedback.
Can you make me a little more like Brad Pitt?
I can't help you there.
No, of course not. So what's probably the most interesting project for you personally, the one that really sticks in your heart? It's a tough question. You've worked on.
Well, in the entertainment industry, we've worked on 300 projects and have 200 clients. all of the top game publishers and whatnot, but that's actually not what moved me the most. The thing that moves me the most is theartdepartment.org, which is education. How do you get in this industry? And that's really where my heart is right now with, in terms of my personal, I love doing games. I'll never stop making games and movies and content, but I feel like helping with education, helping people get into the industry and helping people get their careers it's just really fulfilling.
Absolutely. And you've got some people watching, some of them might be artists looking to get into games or into movies. What would your advice to them be?
I would suggest going on conceptart.org, checking out the site, viewing the art. You can ask questions, you can participate in the community, you can share your artwork even if you're just beginning. And artists will do that and they'll spend time on it and they'll get discovered. The Jay Hawkins, the artist from Epic who designed Gears of War, all the Gears of War franchise work and Unreal Tournament franchise work, he was discovered in there. There's a ton of great artists that have been found in the community, so that's one way, and you can self-teach, but if you want to go to college or go to school and really learn how to do this stuff and create your own worlds as well as get a job in the industry, theartdepartment.org is our college, and it's the most advanced online college worldwide.
That's great. Well, Jason, it's been a huge pleasure and an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm tired, I'm sweaty, I need to go home and shower because I've been running around this forest and stuff with my really new trusted watch. But anyhow, we're going to take a little break because next week it's going to be a highlights episode. In the meantime, Facebook, Twitter, you can find us there, Gadget Nation on Facebook, GN Gadget on Twitter. And in fact, you can head over to YouTube, look up Enjoy, N-J-O-I, AWANI, for plenty of videos online as well. My name is Aaron Carruthers. Till next time.